But I just can't finish what I started. I still pick my friends over you. I don't know who sings that, but it's a great song. I can't remember the name, but thank you to whoever does that. We're back. Wednesday episode. Holy cow. We got a whole slew of new information for you, including the biographer in the Virginia Giuffre book saga. She knows the Epstein list, she told us today. Very interesting. Yet another person. And she shares who else she knows who knows the Epstein list. I know that you know that I know that you know that we all know who knows the Epstein list. Prince Andrew, there's another story out on him from another writer saying that his staff arranged for girls, not just Jeffrey Epstein, a lot of Epstein stuff there. Google Chrome is got a new enemy in OpenAI. Oh, wait, I skipped one. Tucker Carlson's in hot water. Forgot to mention that one. Yeah, we'll give you his latest crazy conspiracy theory. That Tucker Carlson, he's a gem. He's making news, so we'll share that with you. Gayle King and Jesse Waters, Cracker Barrel, the White House construction. We got a few other sneaky topics and more. My friends, we're together. We've got topics. We've got a podcast. Girl, you know it's true. Ooh, ooh, ooh. We got a podcast. Tucker is a cucker. Oh my God. If that's not the greatest. We are 3 seconds into the show and we already have a nomination for comment of the episode. Miss Justice breaking a record. Quickest comment of the episode nomination ever. Join our live chat on YouTube or Facebook. Live chat is always so much fun. Shout out to the replay crew if you're watching us on either of those networks or on Spotify. A lot of people watch us on Spotify video. Make sure you hit that like button. It helps with the algorithm. I hate saying this, but it's so true. You got to hit that like button. You got to share the episode on your Instagram stories, on your Twitter, on your Facebook page. It all helps us out of algorithm jail. Thank you guys for all your help with that. The first big story of the day, Virginia Giuffre's, I guess, co-biographer, the girl who helped write the Virginia Giuffre book, which is coming out, which we've been talking about a lot lately. She's speaking out today, basically saying, and she told News Nation, Amy Wallace told News Nation's Banfield just yesterday, quote, "Yes, I know the names. And I know other people do too." Virginia knew, I'm continuing the quote here, Virginia knew who the names are, but so does the FBI and so does the Department of Justice. How about that? This is Amy Wallace, co-author of Nobody's Girl, the forthcoming Virginia Giuffre book. That's why there's such a clamoring right now for the Epstein files to be released, she said. Wallace, who spent 4 years writing this book with Virginia Giuffre, said she still has the tapes of her recorded conversations with Virginia, including all the ones where she detailed those involved with Epstein. She says, and I quote, "I know all the names that are there. But every different scene, she had to make a decision about whether or not she was going to rename or name these people. The so-called list exists in the FBI files. It exists in the Epstein files. And as we know them, Virginia had named many names and depositions already have been made public," she said on the News Nation show. There are 4 different document dumps. There are many, many names in those. They have the names. They've had them for more than a decade. Wallace noted that she'd hidden her tapes amid fears that someone could try and steal them. Morning report. Nobody can find them, so don't break into my house. No one will be able to find them. Could you imagine me having to say that? You come out publicly, you say, "I know who's on the list, but don't break into my house," because she's putting herself out there. I mean, she's risking something by saying this. But the sad thing is she shouldn't be, because the most important thing she's saying here is the FBI has these files. The Department of Justice has these files. Again, go to the Anthony on Air YouTube channel. Go to the Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell playlist that we have. We have hundreds of videos where we cover this ad nauseum. All the stories when they came out and were first reported, the videos that were confiscated from his Manhattan home, the videos and hard drives that were taken from his West Palm Beach home, all of this data and evidence. And then we had to sit there and watch Kash Patel say, everything is out there. If there was more, we would put, I mean, just blatant lies. Our current president just lying ad nauseum over this, saying that these are not out there. Here is yet another person who said, I sat there with Virginia Giuffre for 4 years and had her to listen to her tell these stories and decide whether to rename or name for the first time the people that were involved in this. Again, no matter what side of the aisle you're on, you got to share our content. You got to share content like this from other people, from other creators. Because if you guys don't do it, the algorithm pushes all this stuff down. Unless it's kittens and people falling, which I do love watching people fall. But unless it's shiny, fluffy stuff or, entertainment news or something like that, the algorithms, they push all this stuff down. We already know everything that went on during the pandemic and how governments leaned on of social media networks to suppress information. That stuff is still going on, man. That stuff is still going on. I like Brooke. Cash wouldn't lie. Anthony is crazy. Yeah, no. I'm crazy. You're right, Brooke. I'm the crazy one. I got to figure out a way to get that on a shirt or something. I'm the crazy one. It's the style in which I like to deliver it. I think that makes it key. Anyway, I like how Robin is making sure that Brooke is on the Discord. You guys are great. By the way, shout out to Robin, who puts a link in the Discord every single podcast day as soon as the live show is announced. I see you, Robin, and I appreciate you, my man. I am going to, I don't know. I got to figure out something nice for you to do in Ohio, wherever the hell you live. What do you guys need over there? Do you need some electricity or something? Can I put a bathroom inside your house as a thank you? I don't know how it works from where you are, Robin. I don't even know why I'm making awful jokes like this. I said to my wife the other night, I go like this. I go, we were talking about the whole map thing and everything. And I go, Robin is in Indiana. It's Indiana, right, Robin? I go, I didn't realize how close we were to that. I just always put Robin in Iowa in my mind. I should send him a new bird feeder. It would only enhance. That's a good call, Christella. It would only enhance Robin's. Robin's Nest. Robin puts awesome stuff on the Discord. It's like I gave up watching the nature Nat Geo there, and I just watch Robin's stuff on our Discord channel. It's good enough. Robin, no bullshit. No bullshit. Probably got to wait till my kids are grown. By the way, that's why the show was late today, because I had to do some parenting. Oh, I had a lot of parenting. Kids have a lot of questions when they're about to go to bed. Isn't that interesting? My kids ignore me for the entire day. Well, they go to school, then they come home, then they go play video games, and they go do they have other things to do. Then when they have time, they don't want to spend it with me. They want to play video games and be on VR and watch YouTube and all those other stuff. When they have to go to bed, they want to get to know me. When it's bedtime, they have 4,000 questions. You want to know? I swear to God, you want to know what a legit question was from my kid tonight? Dad, what's copyright? I had to explain copyright law to him. It's just one day he's going to be like, Dad, can you just recite the Magna Carta to me? It's just whatever they could do to stay up just 5 more minutes. They just love to do. But anyway, the point is, when my kids are grown and they're out of the house, bro, I'm coming over and we're going fishing. We are going fishing. I can't even imagine, dude. I grew up in a place where I literally grew up. You can look it up, Howard Beach. It is right next to Kennedy Airport. There is a bay there. It's called Jamaica Bay. You know, in The Simpsons, when they found like the three-eyed fish, like that's what we used to fit. That's what we used to have in the water. And uncles and cousins, Frankie's dad, I think he still fishes there, to be honest. But Frankie's dad had a boat there, and we would just fish in the most like just jet fuel and mafia bodies, and I mean, you name it. It's just sludge. Like if you ever put anything in the, or if you ever got a hand in that water, you would take your hand out, it would be glowing. And it was just the most disgusting fishing. So I can't even imagine what pure, wonderful Poland Spring commercial-esque fishing things you have by you. But I would love to come and hang with you and just fish for like a couple days straight. That would be so much fun. Okay. Anyway, I digress. We do need an AOA meeting. You know, Frank's been trying to do one for years, but it's like we're so spread out all over the place. Where would we do it? I wouldn't even know where we would meet. I kind of jokingly say Orlando because I feel like every airport has like 90 flights a day going into Orlando. I feel like Orlando might be the place we have to go. But maybe we'll all just go fishing with Robin if he'll have us. Robin, are you okay with having anywhere from 60 to 150 psychopaths in your home who do nothing but joke around about cuckolding? Just check with your wife, see if she's okay with that. See if she's got enough room and towels and stuff, and the tolerance for cuckold jokes to allow us to have a meet and greet fishing trip in your home. Just, you don't have to answer now, but just think about it. Think about it. All right. That's the Virginia Giuffre thing. So now we have to pray for Amy Wallace, make sure that she's okay. We'll look forward to this book, Nobody's Girl, a memoir of surviving abuse and fighting justice from Virginia Giuffre Roberts. Again, ghostwritten by Amy Wallace, who says, I know who's on the Epstein list, and so does the FBI, and so does the Department of Justice. As if you needed somebody else to tell you that all this information is out there and real. Another story about Prince Andrew that popped today, and kudos to the fine folks over at Page 6 for having the exclusive on this one. But the story goes, Prince Andrew, described as sex obsessed, begged his staff and friends to arrange girls for him with a preference for ballerinas and blondes. Gross. So gross. His biographer, Andrew Lowney, claims, and I quote, he didn't realize, well, let me set this up better. Andrew would urge everyone around him to find women he could date. Andrew Lowney claims, and I quote, he didn't realize they were prostitutes. Even his personal protection officers, according to this article in Page 6, paid for by British taxpayers, were involved, according to Lowney, who writes in his new book entitled The Rise and Fall of the House of York. I'm quoting here. He would spy out an attractive ballerina at the Royal Ballet and then send his PPO to invite her to meet the prince. Other variations included sending aides to invite girls to his table at the London nightclub China White, or come to his hotel suite when abroad. Lowney noted that Andrew's staff often requested attractive women to be invited to events, with a private secretary specifying, quote, he likes blondes, to which one consul replied, I'm a diplomat, not a pimp. Can you imagine having to say that? That's why diplomacy, even sales, even I know a lot of salespeople that have to do, like, just to be able to have to arrange women for people. Oh my God. Like, I remember watching Mad Men and just seeing how, especially more so, but I'm not saying this doesn't happen now, but how back in the day, everybody would have to arrange for girls. You know, all these people would come with these businesses from the Midwest and California and all these places, and they'd spend some time in New York City, and you watch Mad Men and they would just have to get these guys laid. It just feels miserable. And I know, like, traditional dudes would be like, oh, so many boys being boys and how much fun. I don't know. I wouldn't want to get creepy, overweight boogers from the middle of the country, you know, have to try and get them laid. And it's just fucking terrible. What a terrible way to live. But anyway, this is what Andrew Lowney is saying in his new book. He resigned as the UK's special trade envoy back in 2011 following criticism of his links to billionaire Epstein. But while traveling the globe in his former role, Lowney said it was rumored Andrew brought women with him that he liked to stay in hotels rather than royal residences, as it gave him more independence in whom he saw, whether women or businessmen. Stories are told of escorts masquerading as professional women being provided that he could pick up. Andrew, who was obviously friends with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, also exploited his royal ties, including being a patron to the English National Ballet, with one staffer there claiming that Andrew had been foisted on them after Princess Diana's death in 1997. Lowney writes, quote, his main interest was the dancers rather than the ballet itself. When he did attend, he insisted on choosing who would sit with him in the royal box. The names were not given to the ENB, said the ballet official. It was suspected that they consisted of mistresses, one yoga teacher, various businessmen. The chairman was allowed in at the interval for a drink. I'm trying not to feel bad for Andrew, but literally this guy's whole entire life, and I don't, but literally this guy's whole entire life was a lie. His whole entire life was a lie. And he had to know it, right? I mean, we know the story about him he's screaming at his staff to arrange teddy bears on his bed and stuff like that. But him being out there like acting like he's picking up girls when he had to know that like his staff was arranging that for him, because he would bark at them and yell at them to, get him women, and nobody's gonna. Speaking of boogers, he was a booger. He was a royal booger, just gross dude. And he's out there just guilty. Oh my God. I honestly, Epstein might be one of the worst people we've ever seen, but as far as a sad person, Andrew is he's ranking up pretty high for me. It's a good question, Brooke. I don't know if there's a difference between those. I mean, garbage human is more apropos. That's more apropos, especially because I can't get it out of my head what he said to Virginia Giuffre, what she writes in her book, where he meets her as a young girl and says, oh, you're just like a little older than my children. Like, how the hell do you then go on to do what we know, or allegedly, let me say that so I don't, allegedly did to Virginia Giuffre following that statement? It's disgusting, man. It is just gross. Yeah, piece of garbage is more. It's just, but he's so sad and pathetic. Charles would go on to become king and have all the responsibility, and he knew he never was going to be. So is this like his little way of having like his own little power or whatever? I mean, it's got to be the way to be. That's just the worst. Could you imagine being a staffer for him, having to do all this stuff? It was bad enough when we knew that he had to like arrange teddy bears on his bed. Arrange the teddy bears on my bed, please. I mean, could you imagine? I would have lasted 3 seconds. There's no amount of money you could pay me to take that much crap from somebody. I don't know. I just couldn't. I'd rather be slinging burgers in McDonald's. I'd rather come home smelling like French fries every day. Just bad fry oil. Which I did. I used to work at Nathan's. It was disgusting. You would just come home every day just smelling like grease, just feeling like grease. That's a better feeling than working for Prince Andrew. So 2 big writers, 2 big book emissions. Whether you believe them or not, that's entirely up to you. But this is what these authors are saying. And what they're saying tracks with a lot of other things that we've been hearing. Why do I keep sticking? Oh, because you know why? Hold on. Okay. Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson had a guy on his latest episode, Peter Daszak, Daszaks. And I didn't watch the whole entire episode. I have the transcript. It's obviously huge news, but I want to bring it up because it has to do with what we've been talking about with Candace Owens, and that's the fact that they are on this little anti-Semitism trip for some reason. Again, Candace Owens alluding to the fact that Jewish people are in some way responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk. Now, she never actually says it, but she alludes to it in her episodes. And she's been going on and on and on about how Tyler Robinson is not the person responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk. And there was a lot wrapped into this with Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, and Candace Owens, because Charlie Kirk, before his passing, was dealing with, the fallout from supporting Benjamin Netanyahu, and how Benjamin Netanyahu was letting a lot of supporters down with his actions and what was going on and all that stuff. And we've seen the text messages which have been authenticated that he got threats from Jewish supporters to pull financing. But again, there's a huge leap. There's a big difference from I'm going to pull my financing to let's conspire to have this guy taken out. It's a massive, massive leap. And this rears its head again with Tucker Carlson when he has this person on, because he starts his episode, which I did watch, by saying nobody wants to talk about the pandemic and the origins of the virus and everything like that, which I have no problem with. That's pretty true. You don't really get unfiltered, chances to interview those people. They've all kind of gone away. Like even Dr. Fauci, like I don't really see him jumping into the lion's den with people that are skeptical of him. I mean, think what you want of him, but it would be nice if he, sat for interviews and talked, and he doesn't have to, but it would be great, as a lot of people still have questions. And there's certainly still a lot of conspiracy theories all these years later. But on Monday's episode of the Tucker Carlson show, he brought up a claim from Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s, who is now our Health and Human Service Secretary. Well, let me start it here. There is science to back the idea that a certain portion of Jewish people, the Sephardic and Ashkenazi Jewish people, weren't getting sick with the COVID-19 virus. Now, science is kind of, several publications have been studying this, and they keep finding out that this is true. That those two, backgrounds, if you will, weren't really impacted by the pandemic and the virus. And then Robert F. Kennedy comes around, and Tucker Carlson, again, fuels this on Monday's show, and he goes, yeah, it must have been tailored to have more adverse effects on specific groups of people. Does anybody else see the difference between, hey, there might be some weird genetic thing with this particular group's of background that they didn't, get this virus? There's a difference between saying that, which there's nothing wrong. I mean, if science proves that that's true, there's nothing wrong with saying that. Different people suffer from different things, whether it be background, whether it be age, whether it be, certain men certainly, are more prone to certain illnesses than women. Women are certainly more prone to certain illnesses than men. Like that, there's nothing wrong with that. It's science. But to reverse engineer that to, well, the people who made this must have been protecting those people, and that's why they weren't getting it. Huh? What? I don't like this. Brooke says, my daughter is Ashkenazi and she was vaccinated, had COVID 3 times. All right, so there you go. Yeah, and it's not like they were totally immune from it, but I guess there are some studies out there which basically goes to find that they just weren't. They weren't affected by it as much. And again, listen, we're still like such a long way away from studying all this stuff and like knowing really everything. There's still probably more to know. Like that might be proven not to be true one day. Who knows? But right now there's some theories going around there that that's true, which again, if it is true, there's fine. There'd be nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, certain ethnicities, certain countries, different parts of the world, northern parts of the world, southern, whatever. That stuff can happen naturally in science, It's this was engineered not to do, like, it was part of the grand plan. Somebody's going to have to help me out with why this always adversely affects Jewish people. Why are they always the one that's on the blaming side of this stuff? Somebody killed Charlie Kirk. Well, it must have been the Jews. What other it's like, how do we get there? Well, these specific type of Jewish people weren't affected by that, so they were probably the ones who they protected themselves in the engineering. Like, I don't understand how we get to these crazy points. I just don't get it. I don't get it. And I mean, according to Tucker Carlson, this is what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said. It's important to note that it's a baseless claim. Jewish organizations have widely condemned Kennedy's crazy theory, which, by the way, let me see here. I think this was reported. I have in my notes that it was reported by the Post. Let me see if I could pick up that article for you right now. But I don't get it. And it seems to be like one of these things. Again, the actions of Benjamin Netanyahu should not influence full-on conspiracy theories on a whole group of people who have nothing to do with Benjamin Netanyahu, other than he leads a country with a religion that they share together. It's just nutty. It's just nutty. And these people continue to go out there and peddle this garbage and get away with it and just pick up massive views. And I'm getting sick of it. I really, really hate this. I love this medium. And it annoys me when I see people abusing it for all the wrong reasons. And by the way, it's not just Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. It's also people who are not funny and cheesy. I also hate the people who are like, hey, did you hear this thing? And the other person's like, no, what is it? And he's like, well, the blah, 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 blah. And it's just like so scripted and stupid. Like, you're not podcasters. You're not. Stop. You're making it worse for the rest of us. Like, I left radio to do this. I love this medium. I love exchanging ideas. I love that there's a live chat in the corner where everybody can have their say. I love that we get to highlight chats. I love that we have a Discord that continues the conversation. I love to inform and entertain, not necessarily in that order. And to see people out there just going like, I'll say this crazy thing and it'll drum up a whole bunch of shit and get a whole bunch of articles written about us, it pisses me off. It really, really just pisses me off. And I wish everybody would stop. And Rhonda, that's so kind of you to say. I really, really appreciate that. But, yeah, well, I'm not just doing it to be like a good person. And I appreciate you saying that. I'm not trying to lash out at you. But it's just like, we're at a time where cable news is drowning and dying. You know what I'm saying? It's fallen flat. And I look at it and I go, this is what they were doing. They were like, how can we write a salacious headline? How can we keep people tuned in? How can we say one thing more ridiculous than another? How can we keep people angry and engaged so that they'll just continue watching to find out what we say and what's happening in the world next? And what happened? Everybody got fatigued and stopped watching. Social media is at a point now where they're like, how do we keep people angry? How do we keep people engaged? How do we keep people in our format? And people are getting social media fatigued. I hate to see these bad actors taking podcasts down that same route, because I don't want people to get tired of podcasts. Because like I said, we're on the precipice of podcasts coming to the forefront as the primary mode of gaining information, whether you want to learn about business, whether you want to learn about the day's news, whether you just want to hear an interview with a comedian, whatever it is, like, it's podcast time. And I really wish the bad actors out there like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Don Lemon would stop doing the stupid stuff that they are doing to ruin it for the rest of us. Because it's an exciting time for entertainment and information and consumption. Think about it. I'm 43 years old. When I was a kid, you wanted to find out something, you hung around for the 6 o'clock news and you had 3 choices. Outside of that, wait till the next morning until the newspaper came out. And we were so boxed into just what very, very few people thought and wanted to project out onto the rest of the world. But you know what? Even though there was not a lot of democracy to that, at least they had a code. There was a journalistic integrity back then where they felt like they had to put the right stuff out there. We've lost that. That's gone. That went the way of ratings and money and corporations and all that stuff. And we're getting to a point now where we're back to the democratization of being able to pass along information to people. And you have these dopes out there just being idiots. And, you know, people will criticize Joe Rogan for this kind of stuff. Or who's my other guy? Theo Vaughn. I don't criticize those guys as much because they're comedians. They're having conversations. You know, they're the class clown. Yeah, they're intelligent guys. You have to be smart to be that funny. The both of those guys I respect tremendously, but they're slapsticky. They're comics. They're out there for laughs first. They're just doing their version of their thing. I don't think Joe Rogan wanted to be the source of news for everybody, but he wanted to definitely share ideas. And that's what I think he tries to do. And you've seen him be more responsible these days. You've heard him say, you know what, look this up, but I think I heard blah, 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 or I'm not 100% sure about this. He just wants to have conversations. That's different from these news presenter types, especially these rejects coming from the former cable news world, which is failing, jumping on the podcast and trying to ruin our little train, you know? Neil brings up a good point here. I'm so sick of Theo. I feel bad for Theo. You know, I really do. He blew up really, really huge, and I don't know if he was ready for it. I think he does a good job. I think he's really funny. Theo is so brilliant at misdirection. Like, he starts a sentence and I think I know where he's going, and then by the time he ends, I'm laughing so hard because, like, who can see it coming? You know, he is genuinely one of the most wonderful, humorous people we have, you know. And the problem is, though, you rise to such heights that you start to go, all right, yeah, I'll have Trump on, or all right, I'll have this other, you know, person on. And it's like, it's not really, not that they can't do it. They can, but it's not their lane. You get into dangerous territory when you start talking politics and news and science and stuff like that. You know, it's fun when those guys talk to comedians and actors, and it's okay to talk serious stuff and get into that, dip into that. But it takes you start to get into other areas and it gets a little trickier, and it's hard to navigate those waters sometimes. Like, you got to really know what you're doing. You know, I say this all the time, and not to blow smoke up my own butt, because so many other people do this way better than I do, way more successfully than I can. But, you know, there's real journalists out there who do really. Matt Taibbi is one of those people who does really good work. We're seeing Pablo, what's his name? The guy who's like blowing up all these sports stories now. You know, some people just have a knack for this. They know how to do this stuff, and they know how to do it really, really well. You know, Amy Poehler has gotten off to a really good start. I wouldn't say she's an expert yet, but I can see if Amy Poehler sticks with her podcast like 20 years from now, she could be really, really good at it. But you got to have a skill to do this and do it really well, especially if you're going to dip your toe in the water of going into politics and all that stuff. Prof G there, what's his name? Scott Galloway. He's got a real talent for this stuff. He's really, really good at this stuff. You know, Jon Stewart is really, really good at this stuff. Leans left all the time, which I wish he would be critical the other way sometimes, but he's really, really good at it. Bill Maher is really, really good at having open conversations with everybody about anything. You know, those guys read a lot, they consume a lot. You got to have that background built into you. And some people really have it and some people don't. Theo's at the start of having it, but his skill set, as far as navigating those waters, his popularity jumped up too fast for his skill set to develop for that. And that's why I think Theo's having a little bit of trouble these days. I certainly hope his well-being is okay, because I know he's been dealing with some stuff. I don't know the full details on it. I haven't really had a lot of time, but I hope Theo comes out of it on the other end, because we need people like Theo in the world, to make people laugh and to give people a different perspective. And that's what's so exciting about now, is it's great to have a different perspective on things. It's important. I think it's really important in our current political climate, where a lot of people are just trying to get you to fight right versus left. Again, I say this, and I feel like I've been saying it more and more every episode. You guys tell me when you get sick of hearing it. There's more that brings us together than that what drives us apart. But you wouldn't know it by reading social media or putting on your cable news network. You just wouldn't know it. It feels like it's a war, when in reality it is not. And I feel like I'm in one of those scenarios where I just wish people would snap out of it faster and realize that. I just might have to wait a little bit longer. Perhaps OpenAI taking on Google Chrome will be that difference. I think, we're in a huge shift here with AI. That's not a revolutionary idea. But I think we've seen one of those larger steps take place just yesterday, when OpenAI announced that they were coming out with their own browser, which they're calling Atlas. Good name. Not easy to remember. What we called browsers, Firefox and things like that, Explorer. I guess Explorer is not too bad. But yeah, OpenAI launches their first Atlas. Now, right now, it's only on Apple. Apple is the first platform to allow it, but there's going to be others. What I think is so interesting about this, and why I bring it up, is because this AI's new agent mode with this deeper ChatGPT integration is really positioning themselves in a scary way to take on Google Chrome, because Google Chrome, I think, is like the most popular browser. But what this OpenAI agent thing does is it will literally do tasks for you. So you can program an agent, for instance, to say like, hey, I need to fly to Texas, next June. Keep your eye on flights and everything like that, and let me know when the flight hits the lowest. And then when it does, just book it. Like when the flights hit $99 in each direction, just book it for me. And here's, and the agent will search every day for it, and then it'll go and book it. And right now, the agent mode in OpenAI would open up like a window inside of ChatGPT and do it. And it's all kind of very slow, and you can see, or like have it make a reservation for you at a restaurant or something like that, or reserve a rental car or something like that. Like you could do some of those tasks. Now, the way Atlas is, and I haven't tried this yet. I'm going to spend the weekend just downloading it and losing myself in Atlas. But it's being described by not just OpenAI, but other people who have been exploring it as just like your own personal assistant on your web browser. So it's like if you go on Amazon and you're looking for something, you can just tell it like, I need a gift bag that's exactly, 6 inches tall by 4 inches wide with handles, and it should be white paper, and get me a fun stamp to go on it so I could stamp all my gifts for this weekend, and make sure you put tissue paper in there. And what else would you need for this? Oh yeah, ribbon. Okay, yeah, ribbon, get a ribbon. And you could do all of that, and it would just go and do it for you. Could you imagine that? Now, the little scary Big Brother stuff is like, it remembers everything you do. Kind of the way like Facebook and Instagram do. Mm-hmm. They're always listening. And although that could be creepy for some, like imagine how helpful it is. Imagine that you're on, I don't even know, HomeDepot.com, and you're like, oh, what was that paint we were looking at last year that we were thinking about putting in the dining room? And this ChatGPT AI Atlas browser would know. It would be right there for you. You would just be able to ask it, what was that paint we were looking at last year? Remember, we looked at it like 10 times, and it would be able to go back into its history and find out what was the paint that you looked at like 10 times. And it would be able to be like, you mean this paint? You can't do that with Google right now. You know what I mean? Like, how helpful is that? That must be amazing. Hold on, let's go to Brian here. 42-month member. Oh my goodness. A member for 42 months. I sure appreciate you, Ant, and the rest of your crew and the rest of my family listening. Much love and respect. Brian, bless your heart. Thank you. We've been celebrating a lot of 40 plus members recently. I don't want to shout. You guys all know who you are. You're the best ever. You've been here since day one, and you're what makes this possible. You guys go away. The podcast goes away too, because it'll be hard to afford it without your support. If you've not become a member yet, please do so. You can join with a link in the description below for as low as $2.99. I know it sounds crazy. Like, how can we support you for $2.99? You could. It works. We have enough people. If you can give more, our highest level is $19.99. Not too bad. Not too bad. It's like a Netflix subscription these days. But if you can give $19.99 and you like this freedom content, this free, nobody controls us, nobody sponsors us. It's just you and I, or UI, Frankie, and Jay Sams, and all the crew who comes in and out here all the time. Your support is what makes that work. And believe me when I tell you, we need more of that support. So I've been watching for a while, and you got an extra $2.99, or I forget what the middle level is, $6.99 or $19.99. Please click that link in our description right here, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Spotify, and sign yourself up to become a member, because it helps us put on the podcast. And like I said, if that dries up, we will go away. We will go away, unfortunately. But I don't like talking like that. I don't like talking like a PBS channel. And who knows? Maybe if we hit 400 months, everybody will get a tote bag, which will be great. Which will just be great. You will get a limited edition tote bag, which is going to be nice for carrying your things around, or letting your AI robot carry your things around for you. High Vibes, 41-month member. Thank you so much. You guys are the absolute best. I appreciate that wholeheartedly. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, but I mean, imagine having that personal assistant just baked into your web browser. That's so helpful, because I got to tell you right now, I rely on ChatGPT a lot for a lot of things. Different look at, we're flying off the handle here. Look at this. Take all my money. And Bird, member for 43 months. Bird, I appreciate you so much. I know how hard you work. I follow Bird's world. I'm a little behind. I'm a few days behind. It's like my anxiety when I see like an audio note. What do you call that in Discord? I call them mini podcasts. When I see a little Bird mini podcast and I don't get a chance to listen to it for a couple of days, I'm like, oh, fuck, what's going on? And then especially Erin C is so great on being in the Discord. When Erin C is commenting on shit, I'm like, oh my God. So sometimes I just text Erin C. I'm like, what's happening? Catch me up. Yeah, so we're so busy with stuff and the kids and everything like that. But 43 months is tremendous. That's huge. I appreciate you guys, all of you. You really are unbelievable. And I love how these big green things, I don't even know how to get these green things up. So I don't know how you guys do it, but I want to recognize all our members, because you guys really do a lot. We're going to share I got some behind the scenes stuff with my mom that I shot the other day. It's not a huge production, just a couple of pictures I took. Just again, because I love to give the members like the real cool stuff, the real behind the scenes stuff, the stuff that like is important to me and that I like to put that stuff there for you guys, because I feel like it gives us a little bit of a deeper connection. So I appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you. But going back to the AI thing, like I use ChatGPT a lot these days. Like it really helps us. Like, we do the podcast every day and I work so hard at that. But like some of the little details, like writing the podcast description, how good our description is on YouTube and on Facebook makes a difference on how many people the algorithm distributes it to. Even though we have thousands upon thousands, 10 to 30, we've got a lot of followers. It's still last one of those details matters. And to put the research into what the hashtag is that we should use, AI is kind of helping us do those little tiny techie details these days. So I rely on that stuff wholeheartedly. And we're always doing different things on the show here, but even like I find myself like having to write an email is annoying these days. Like I just want to be able to, and I've found myself doing this. Like I'll just dictate to ChatGPT. Like I'll be like, hey, this podcaster, wants our help on this, or this podcaster has 4,000 followers. They want to figure out how to get to 10,000. This is what I want to do. Like a lot of the non-podcasty entertaining stuff that we do, we help people with their own podcast, I'll be like, oh, this person wants to start a podcast. They have this, this, and this. Check our equipment list or our rundown of what we have and give me the top 10 things that they need to do outside of what they already have: microphones, lighting, virtual studios, all that stuff. I'm like, I can just spit that all out like it would be a personal assistant and be like, organize that into a nice email, get the cost associated with it, with our supplier and this and that, and give them a price for us to walk them through it and all that kind of, like, just all stuff like that. I can do that in seconds now instead of sitting there going, blah, 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 blah. I mean, it's like the way of the world. So I can't imagine, like, for business people and stuff like that, to have somebody to be able to just remember what you did last year or last week. Or do you remember that site that we found that had all that helpful decorating tips? What was that? Like, Google can't find that for you, but ChatGPT can. And now to kind of have that with you for the whole entire ride, just be there as like a helping hand. Like, everybody can feel what I'm about to say. Wouldn't you all love a personal assistant? Wouldn't everybody right now love a personal assistant to help you with your shopping list, with your to-do list around the house, with, paying your bills and, all these things that take time? Wouldn't it be nice to have some? It's called Post-it notes, and dude, I mean, a lot of these are blind top fives, but I love making notes. I love making notes. And you know how hard it is to go through it and find what you wrote? Could you imagine just being able to be like, hey, what was that? Remember that thing I tried to remember 4 weeks ago? I was Googling on, what was it? What was that thing? And ChatGPT like, oh, this thing? Have ChatGPT say, oh, how to have a copyright-free cuck chair emoji? Is that what you're looking for, Ann? Yeah, that was it. You know what I'm saying? To have that's going to be a huge help for people, I hear you, Paul. It's coming, my man. It's coming. Rhonda, we do pay for the advanced ChatGPT, whatever it is. Yes. Yeah, we do. It's just become part of our, again, I don't say this a lot on the show because it's not the entertaining and informative part. It's a lot of the boring off-air stuff that we do in order to do this podcast, all our podcast consulting work that we do off the air. But yeah, we do use it for those purposes because it just helps us cut down on time and reach so many more, people. The list of comedians that we're doing, could you imagine? So we've taken on this project to come up with the 500 top comedians of right now, which is hard to do. To come up with the 500 top comedians of all time is easy because you can look back at history. You can see people's full careers when they stopped and ended, decide their influence, how they did over time. It's easy to call Eddie Murphy a brilliant comedian. You got 30 years of work there to look at. To find out who the best comedians are right now, that's a lot of work. Even if you put in all the work, which we are doing, could you imagine putting that on an Excel spreadsheet? To be able to put in everything. Nate Bargatze. Okay. Dave Chappelle. Okay. Why is Dave Chappelle good? Well, he's got this many special things. Okay. To put that all on. The way we're doing it right now, we're able to move so much faster with ChatGPT because we can input all of our information, have it organize it, and then we can do things like this. We can be like, hey, move Dave Chappelle, move Nate Bargatze. So-and-so's come out with a new special. Let's re-rank that based on the reviews of what they're getting. And we can just tell ChatGPT this information and it goes out and it gets it. Now, we have to check it. That's super important now. We don't put anything on the air that we don't check ourselves. But the amount of time it cuts down on, oh my God. This would have taken us like a year to do. And you can't even do something like that over the course of a year because it's going to change so much. Nominated. Don't mind me. I'm just nominating comments for comment of the episode. It just, it's become a little way of life, and I can't imagine what it's going to be. And now with this browser, holy cow. Because I literally, I had somebody I knew. He was like, do you remember 3 weeks ago we were talking about this thing, this resource, and it gives information? Do you remember what it was? And I go, I remember, and I searched in my Google's history and everything, and I'm like, no, I can't find it. I'm like, I know I'm going to find it. I know I'm going to come across it. I saw this Atlas story yesterday. I go, could you imagine what it would be like to just say to ChatGPT, what was this thing that, remember, it was around this and this and this? It would find it for you. It would find it. How great would that be? As far as I know right now, Rhonda, there's no cost associated with the Atlas browser. But it is limited to Mac OS users. So unless you have a MacBook Pro or a MacBook or a Mac computer, those are the only, that's the only thing that has the ability to run this new web browser from OpenAI called Atlas. That's really it. OpenAI, by the way, says it has more than 800 million users, but a lot of them get it for free. No surprise, the San Francisco-based company says it's losing more money than it makes, but I think that this is the next step. Like, they already introduced the shopping on there. Now they have the browser that they're going to, that they just rolled out for Mac OS. They've already told us they're going to allow the dirty talk one day soon. Huh? Lonely people, am I right? We're all excited about that. We're all excited about the possibilities of Cuck GPT. Copyright Paul. I don't know. I mean, it's going to be one of those mega corporations. It's so exciting right now for OpenAI. It's so exciting, and I'm so excited for them until, of course, it all goes awry and AI snaps and builds robots to come and kill us all. But up until that moment, oh man, it's an exciting future. Oh boy, is it an exciting future. I think about this with like the Terminator. I'm like, how did these people not see this all coming? And now I sit here and I go, a browser? That's brilliant. And then I think about it for a while and I go, might be leading to that Terminator moment, I guess. We have to talk about Gayle King and Jesse Waters. So Gayle King was on a flight and I guess she got stuck next to Jesse Waters. And so like she snapped a picture and the left people are losing their minds. And notice, I've been really critical of the left lately because they deserve it. But notice it's the left, I mean, I guess I'm critical of the right too, but I've been getting a lot of flack from people for being critical on the left, which is fine. Keep it coming. But Gayle King snaps a picture next to Jesse Waters, and she puts it out on her socials, and it says, "Speaking for Jesse Waters here. A good time was had by all. Hi, Jesse. Saving your number." That's what she put on her Instagram. People losing their minds. Some people saying, "Gayle, this is not it." Rapper Talib Kweli said, "Nah, Gayle, this ain't it." Another account said, all Nazi Jesse does is lie." Tons of other people are up there saying Oprah's tone deaf bestie not reading the room. One person said, ew. Another person said, no principles. Not that I ever expected anything else from her. People are losing their minds. And I laugh at this because for several reasons. These are people. Again, we've all been conditioned to think that the right and the left are supposed to be fighting and arguing, and then one of them is supposed to win. That's not the way it is. There are more things that bind us together than drive us apart. Get out of your social media bubble. Stop watching your cable news network of choice, whether it's Fox or MSNBC or CNN. Look at the world, and you'll realize, oh, I actually agree with more people than I disagree with. People who vote for Democrats and people who vote for Republicans, like 80% of both of those groups combined actually want the same stuff. That's the reality. So when you see a picture of Gayle King and Jesse Waters, and by the way, I think Jesse Waters is a douchebag. Gayle King seems fine to me, but I could take her or leave her. It doesn't really, She's whatever. I don't care. You know, I don't lose my shit though when I see these two together, like a lot of people do. I have news for you. This is breaking news, everybody. I don't know if you I feel like I should put a warning label on this. I don't know if you know this or not, but Hulk Hogan and the Macho Man, Randy Savage, they also got along with each other when the cameras weren't on them. Okay? I don't want to upset people, in the middle of a week here. But it's all made up. The wrestling and the news organizations, it's all made up. Like Gayle King and Jesse Waters, even though they go on TV and complain about the exact opposite stuff, they have more in common than they have apart. You know how hard it is to make it in TV? Do you know how hard it is? Do you know how much crap you have to put up with? Again, I was just in radio. And that's 1/1,000,000th of what they had to put up with on TV. Like the amount of, I don't even want to tell you the amount of stuff I had to deal with over the course of my radio career just to have my own radio show. The amount of garbage I had to eat just to have my own radio show. Then I would see people from other radio stations and I would be like, do you have to deal with this? And they would be like, yeah. And then I would be like, oh my God, you're like a friend of mine. I was on a station, which was a competitor to the station that my man, Brian the Cannon Bannon, was on. When we were on the same station, we became like the best of friends. I was texting with Brian the Cannon Bannon earlier today. And for those of you who don't know him, he's a big personality in Long Island, big radio personality, talented guy, super great guy. When we got together, we immediately found like a kinship between us because we had so much in common. So does Gayle King and Jesse Waters. So if you're upset that they're friends, what does that say? Or that they can get along on a flight together, what does that say about you? If they don't really care in real life, IRL, am I right, Tim? If they don't care, why should you? Why should you? And that's why, and see, I don't know if this was like a New Yorker thing. I was never going to be somebody else's rube. You know what I'm saying? I've been independent for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons, though, is I'm not going to play your game. You're not doing anything for me. Why am I going to be on your team fighting other people? That doesn't make any sense. And you know something? If you're getting this, you're on our algorithm. Bless your heart. You should probably send this to somebody who needs to hear it. Because I'm sure you have friends who are on one side or the other, and they're fighting with your other friends who are on the other side or one side or the other. And they need to hear this. There's more that brings us together than divides us. You're just falling for social media algorithms and cable news networks who need to keep you angry so that you can keep watching their cable news show and keep staying on their social media network. So if you want to bust this, share what I'm saying right now with the person who needs to hear it. Put it on their Facebook wall, send it to them via text, put it on your Twitter, on your Instagram stories, because more people I feel like the world is brainwashed, and it's that one sense of like truth and help that we can put out there. And I'm not lying to you, because go to Gayle King's Instagram. You can see it. She's friends with the person. And by the way, and let me tell you something else. You know why I tried not to feud with radio people? I got into some feuds with them because I'm an immature idiot. But the reason why you're nice to all those people, because when you're in that cutthroat business, like radio was and TV still is, you never know if you're going to need somebody in that other competing station to be, so you got to be nice to them. You can't just try and decimate everybody because the people you work for are bigger scumbags than the people on the other political part of the aisle from you. And you might need those people one day, and they might be decent people, and they might be there for you more than the pieces of garbage that sit in the executive suites of media companies, because those are the worst people. You think you know who the devil is? You think your boss is terrible? Wait until you run into a TV or radio executive. They're even worse. They are even worse. because they have failed at what you're really good at, and they are angry about it, and they are going to take it out on everybody that works for them. And that is 1,000,000% the truth. I could literally name for you the 3 radio executives that are good, decent people, because they're easy to spot, because you just don't see them anymore. Because they're the ones that when you get fired, they call you up and they go, hey, can I help? I don't have a job for you here, but if I do one day, you're going to be my first call. Or I don't have a job for you here, but I know so-and-so might have a job soon. I'm going to make sure I put you in touch. There are not a lot of those people in this business. So, Gayle is an astronaut. There you go. And he's got spoiler alert. It's the WWE. It's the WWE. I mean, this is literally like getting upset that Macho Man and Hulk Hogan weren't real enemies. It's like they weren't. Brian, I just said a lot of nice things about you. I hope you caught most of it. Why is our competitor's voice on our station? Next day, oh, he's with us now. Yeah, that's literally how it happens. That is literally how it happens. And you're literally at war with Meghan Markle, Candace Owens, Tucker. Yeah, that's true. But I'll never need those people. I'll never, ever need them. Ever. The day I need Meghan Markle, I don't know, man. I don't know. The day I need Meghan Markle, something has gone. The robots are coming for me. The AI robots are coming, and she's got the remedy. That's the only scenario I can imagine me being nice to Meghan Markle. The Cracker Barrel thing. The CEO of Cracker Barrel, her name is Julie Fels-Messino. She was doing an interview, I guess one of these business forum things. And she goes, because I guess she said this a whole bunch, but it was such a firestorm that nobody could hear the reality. And this is one where I blame the right more than the left, because they were just like, oh, woke this or woke. I've never seen somebody hijack something that had nothing to do with politics and make it all about politics. And some of my friends in the podcast world, somebody that I used to do a lot of stuff with, was one of these people. And it took everything in me to not call them out for it. Because again, I'm trying not to, it's one thing to take on Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens. These guys are the biggest offenders. This is just a minor thing. And it wasn't just him. It was a lot of people. Anyway, and the other part of this too, honestly, was I was out on vacation around that time, so I did miss a bunch of it. So by the time I did get all kind of caught up in it, it was too late. Nobody cared anymore. But I'm bringing it back around now because this poor woman, this CEO, she's doing this interview, and she was like, yeah, we just kind of felt like it would be easier to read our signs if we made the text a little clearer and bigger and made it just the text, the logo. And we thought people would be able to see us from the highways easier. And she was like, oh, that didn't go so well. And I'm like, that's so dumb. It makes sense. Because, and let me put this together for Brooke, who courageously admits, and I'm now envious of you, Brooke, that she has never been to a Cracker Barrel. You're not missing anything, Brooke. You know what? Your gut health thanks you. As somebody who's recently tried to have better gut health, don't go. I mean, I feel like everybody should try everything once. Oh fuck, this is really good. I haven't been to Cracker Barrel in a minute. Nominated for comment of the episode. Is that Bird, Robin, Miss Justice, Paul? Is this the first Cracker Barrel? Oh wait, no, Miss Justice said Cracker Barrel first. Is this the first time we've ever said Cracker Barrel? Or have we said Cracker Barrel before? Look, now everybody's just saying it like it's Cracker Barrel has been in existence for 7.2 seconds, and it's already become vernacular on this show. Do you see how much of a problem we have? This isn't normal. Okay, I want everybody to look at themselves in the mirror after the show's over and go, should we be doing this? I don't know. I'm encouraging it, but I still doesn't feel like we should be doing this. Misfit hasn't been to Cracker Barrel. Someone said Cock GPT. Yeah, I mean, it's an experience, I guess. maybe everybody should try it, but maybe don't eat anything. Oh, no, hold on a second. Brooke says, I don't have a gallbladder. I don't venture to many places. You know what? I can't even. If you don't have a gallbladder, don't risk it. That just sounds like you would just go walk in there, smell their fake biscuits and die. I can't have you. We can't lose people, Brooke. So please just consult your physician first before you go to Cracker Barrel, or Cucker Barrel as known around these parts. But Brooke and Misfit and others who have never been to a Cracker Barrel, if you don't know, and if you've never been to a Cracker Barrel, perhaps you don't spend enough time on highways, because literally every single Cracker Barrel is within 150 feet of an exit. That's just where they build those things. They do not build Cracker Barrel in the middle of downtown anywhere. Name a downtown, there's not a Cracker Barrel there. Cracker Barrel's whole business model is literally, this is slightly better than a rest stop. You know what I'm saying? Somebody a long time ago thought, instead of gas, I'll put food around my public bathroom and build it close to the highway when people have to get off and pee. That's literally what they did with Cracker Barrel. What Buc-ee's is doing now to the gas station, Cracker Barrel did years ago. They just thought, we're just going to build a bunch of these things right around the highway. In New York, by the way, I grew up in New York, Brooke. We never had a Cracker Barrel. Do you want to know why? No highways. No highways. I mean, our highways are the LIE and the BQE. Those are not places that, you're not traveling a lot through. Those are, you're commuting through work every day. If you're near 95 or 66 or one of these places, you're making long journeys. If you're driving state through state on that kind of highway, that's where the Cracker Barrels are. So we never had these things in New York. They would be in New Jersey because New Jersey's like highway area, So the fact that this poor company was just like, I think maybe they'll be able to read our signs easier from the highway. Maybe that'll help our business, and did it. And then got caught in this woke storm because the right versus left are not happy until they destroy everything. It's such a tragedy. It's a hilarious tragedy to me. This poor CEO made a decision and just caught it at the same way, like, Jackson 5 became, I was going to say Debbie Gibson or whatever, name it, Cyndi Lauper, who knows if Cyndi Lauper's 5 months later or 5 months earlier, who knows if Cyndi Lauper is ever as popular. I mean, you could say that about almost any single artist. The Beastie Boys, Dave Matthews, Metallica. If they say Metallica, or else Frank's not happy. You mentioned Dave Matthews and Metallica. He gets very mad at that. Taylor Swift, even. A lot of these people have such talent, but it's like it takes timing and that X factor that you just don't know about. You just don't know if it's going to work out for you or not. And here's this little Cracker Barrel that's like, yeah, business is kind of flat. We can't improve the quality of our ingredients. That doesn't work in the restaurant industry. Maybe if we change our signs, people will come see us more. All right, let's try it. Let's see what happens. And then all of a sudden, like a little kid that's not ready for that 20-foot wave to hit them in the ocean, they're just flopping around with sand up their butt, washed up on the shore. Like, what just happened? It's like, oh, you tried something new in the time of right versus left when social media is desperately trying to make as much money as possible? Well, that was a mistake. And again, I do blame the podcasters out there, like that person I know, and a lot of other people that are like, I know, I'll take this non-story, put it into my little world of right versus left, feed it to the people who listen to me, and watch them be angry over it. I mean, literally the Cracker Barrel thing should be studied on what's wrong with social media, podcasting, and the world today. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, this is not a new thing, like you go back, there was in radio, there was this big example. Mike and the Mad Dog used to say this. They said it once during a documentary and it really took off. Mike and the Mad Dog were like a radio duo who talked sports all day at WFAN, which was the first all sports station in the country. It's strange to think that there was one all sports talk station on radio at one point. Like it was such a rare thing to talk sports all day long that it was only in one place. And then from there, it slowly trickled around. But it's crazy to think that when today There's literally a million channels on radio, television, podcasts, the internet, blogs, everything, that all they do is talk sports 24/7. ESPN, I was like all of it. It's crazy to think that at one time there was one. And it was a crazy idea. They didn't think it was going to work. And now look at what the sports talk industry has turned into. But Mike and the Mad Dog used to say that when their local teams, which were the Mets and the Yankees and the Knicks, when they won a game, people would tune in and they would listen to them. If the Yankees lost a game in the bottom of the ninth or top of whatever it was, if they lost a game, if they blew a lead in the ninth and lost the game, their numbers would go through the roof because people were angry and they were mad and they wanted to connect with like-minded individuals. And social media took that little like, oh, angry people engage more, and just put all sorts of chemicals on top of it so that it would grow to the size of the Jolly Green Giant or the Hulk or whatever you want to call it. And they've just expanded on it, and it's gotten out of control. It's gotten to the point where a cheap, crummy, Southern-style knockoff restaurant can't even change their logo to be more visible on the highway without getting caught up in a stupid political war. It's nuts. And so I thought it was interesting. Like, now that it's all calmed down, I kind of like putting this out there like, hey, idiots, it wasn't about that at any point, at any time. And like people trying to draw the lines to, Aunt Jemima removing their thing or Uncle Ben removing their character person or whatever, and how that was all the woke. They were all trying to do that when nobody knew what ethnicity or anything, political beliefs, religious beliefs, this stupid guy sitting next to the barrel believed in, or what it even meant. It was a dumb guy next to a barrel. And they sold really shitty chicken and waffles and chicken and biscuits and stuff like that, and poorly made gravies and cheap eggs and weird puzzles and oversized checkers, and they put rocking chairs that they sold on their little, it's like, that's all they did. They weren't trying to get you to vote one way or another. So stupid. It's so stupid. All right, we're running tight on time. We got to run. But I have to bring this up too, because I just found this to be utterly hilarious. Like, I mean, really, really funny. I've saved this story from the other day. Hillary Clinton. Everybody's losing their mind over the construction of the White House. We were talking about, I was even caught off guard about how many people were commenting on this, right and left, Hillary Clinton took issue this Monday with the East Wing of the White House being demolished to clear a way for the $250 million ballroom. She wrote on X. Should I start calling it X? I still call it Twitter. I do say X sometimes, but she wrote on Twitter on Monday morning, and I'm going to quote here. It's not his house. It's your house, and he's destroying it. That's what she put on Twitter. And, people were like quick to say, like, he's destroying it. Like, your husband got caught getting a blowy in the Oval. That destroyed it for a lot of people. I mean, everybody can have opinion. Obviously, we live in a world of free speech. But what's that? Those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Why does nobody remember that? I feel like there should be those who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones check before you get to write something on Twitter. Like, X should put in a feature where you write something and they go, "Are you sure about that?" Because we did a quick AI search, and these are all the things that you did, that your person did in the White House, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that was the biggest scandal of my time. Now, I was a young and mature person, so getting a blowy in the White House, I didn't understand the magnitude of that. But the older I get, I certainly, again, now I'm like, I wish the president wouldn't curse. And I feel that way. And I get sort of the, maybe you shouldn't get, I get, listen, people blow people. I get it. That kind of stuff happens in the workplace, and some people work in the White House. I get it, but that one really kind of blew up in their face. I mean, that was a big one. So if that's your crew and you're like, well, it's not, you shouldn't, don't, how could you, defile the White House? Like, well, easy there, killer. This is really funny. I'm going to put that down, Paul. That's a late entry into comment of the episode. A BJ took out the East Wing. And again, I know it's not a big deal for some. I know this is politically charged because the right made it feel like the end of the world, and they used it to get him out, right? Even though he wound up doing an 8. Did he get discovered in his first term or second term? I can't remember that. I can't remember. But I mean, either way, they made it like, I mean, they used it to rile up their conservative religious base, And again, I put fault on them for that, for like, don't give him an in. Don't give him an in. Little did we know, we'd go to discover all these years later that getting a blowy in the White House was not the worst thing that Bill Clinton ever did. Thanks a lot, Epstein List. I was going to talk about Pete Davidson and Colin Jost. They are still renting this Staten Island ferry in New York. I read another article that they just owe thousands of dollars on it, that they're paying these crazy $1,000 fees. They were going to build this comedy club / hotel / touring thing. And it was an article just this morning that literally nothing has been done on it. Absolutely nothing has been done. I don't know what these guys are going to do with it, but I feel like Pete Davidson shouldn't be wasting money. Colin Jost has that. He got that, Scarlett Johansson money. Colin's going to be just fine. Colin's got that big pile of cushy money coming in from those Marvel movies all those years. He's going to be all right. I mean, he loses Scarlett Jo, then he's up a creek, and a Staten Island creek too. Not like a nice creek where like Robin lives in Idaho, where like there's fresh fish and stuff, and he goes fishing every day, and it's just serene and beautiful. It looks like a Norman Rockwell painting. No. I'm talking about a Staten Island creek where you're just like, is that a hand with that? What just floated? Did anybody? I don't know if that was seaweed or a hand. I'm not into, I feel like, should we call somebody? I don't even know. That's the kind of creek that Colin Jost is going to be up. That son of a bitch is from Staten Island. Those are not real, You know what I'm saying? And I've had Colin Jost on my show. He's a sweetheart of a guy, but and very funny. I think he's really, really funny. What he's done at SNL's, I think he's stood the test of time over there. It's phenomenal. Great weekend anchor host, a weekend update anchor. But he's got a fallback plan. It's called Scarlett Johansson. I don't know what Pete Davidson has, because that Pete Davidson money's going to run dry one day. Because again, Pete Davidson's from Staten Island too. Those people do not know how to keep money. They don't know how to hold on to money. And Pete Davidson, I love the guy. I don't want to talk bad about him, but that guy's got a limited skill set. He's got to hold on to every dime he makes. That's important, or he's going to run out soon. It's not going to be good. OpenAI is cracking down on Sora 2 deepfakes after Bryan Cranston's actors union complains. Yeah, Cranston's got the whole SAG-AFTRA people up in arms over the OpenAI stuff for Sora 2. Frank and I talked about this the other day on the podcast, on the Monday episode. Like, the amount of Sora fake AI videos that are coming through our feed are through the roof. Are you guys finding the same thing? Like, are you like, I mentioned like the old lady who was getting a massage, and then she just got like a feather got flicked through a door, and Frank saw the same thing. So we must all be seeing the same stuff. Have you guys seen that? Have you noticed an uptick in weird, bizarre, fever dreamy videos that are, because they all have the Sora logo on them, because I think that's part of Sora's thing. Like they want to keep that on there so people know it's fake, because you almost don't even know what's fake anymore. People were talking about the Louvre, the robbery at the Louvre. And that was one of the things where people were like, they had some security footage and people were like, is this real? Is this not? Like, nobody knows. Which, by the way, that robbery, they took a lot of diamonds and stones and gems and jewelry, all this like ancient stuff. And they were right by the Mona Lisa. It was like in the section, like right near the Mona Lisa. These people went up to the second floor on a ladder, cut a hole in a window, walked in, took a bunch of stuff, walked right out. Like all these gems and diamonds and stuff like that. And I'm just looking at this. I'm like, this is the Italian job. But you know what I always think about with this stuff? Why I get stealing, I get robbing a bank, I get stealing jewelry from people, you rob a jewelry store, I get that. But when you're taking one of a kind items out of a museum, I don't understand that. I don't get it. What's the point of that? Because you have to sell that stuff to make it worthwhile. And who are you going to sell that stuff to? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you find a buyer for that? Like, you can't put that on eBay. I checked. They won't let you. I looked into it. I mean, I had AI search their terms of service, but apparently it cannot be done. You know what I'm saying? Like, even when I go to GameStop to turn in one of my kids' old video games, they're like, "Did you buy this? Let me see your license. Let me take a photocopy of this." I'm like, "Is this GameStop?" I feel like, why are you, it's like a law. I don't know if this is a law in other states, but in New York, they're basically like a thrift store or whatever they call it. And you got to give them your photo ID if you're going to sell, because they want to make sure that you didn't steal it and try and a pawn shop. I think they're technically a pawn shop, GameStop. And they got to get your photo ID. It's so weird. So I'm like, I see a robbery like this, and I'm like, all right, great. You have these rare diamonds worth technically worth millions, but how are you going to fence that? How are you going to sell that? I don't know. You've had jewelry stolen from your house? Oh my gosh. Nominated. Hilarious. I don't know what, I mean, unless, because, okay, here's the other thing. This is the other thing I think of. Unless somebody contracts you to steal that stuff to begin with, like let's say some James Bond villain billionaire is like, go out and steal these jewels from me. But even in that case, and you steal it and you give it to them, what do they get? Like, unless you can brag about, I have this in my possession, what's the point? Like, if a tree falls in the woods and no one's around to hear it, does it make a sound? Like, if you have the rare diamond thing, but nobody knows, what's the point? You just want to look at it? Are billionaires just like, I don't care if nobody knows, I just need the weird rare diamond necklacey thing, and I'll look at it every day and it'll make me happy? Is that what they're doing with it? I don't get it. Because I literally thought, like, people, like, even like memorabilia, photos, all this stuff, like, people like to tell those stories. Like, people get a baseball jersey signed or a basketball, and they're like, look, I got Patrick Ewing's autograph. Like, isn't this cool? Yeah, madam. And there's like a story, like, there's a brag to it. There's something to it. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with these jewels. And again, and the thieves, like, obviously they're not the billionaires. They're risking their lives. They're risking going to prison, all that stuff. Like, they're not doing it for free. I don't get how that all works. Is that weird to say? Like, stealing from a jewelry store, stealing jewelry from somebody's house, I understand that. Diamond necklaces, people have tons. You can't track that stuff. But when you have like the rarest of rare crowns or necklaces that they stole, what are you going to do with that? And even if you are selling it to somebody, or if somebody contracted you to go steal it, what are they doing with it? Do they just throw secret billionaire parties and they invite everybody into their room and go, look, I was the one who stole? Like, that shit's going to get out. Like, again, I'm not in billionaire circles. They won't have me. Talked about the Epstein list too much. They don't like my kind. But I would imagine, like, other billionaires and other millionaire people get jealous and they're going to be like, hey, it was Bill. I feel like that's going to be an anonymous phone call. Hey, who stole all that stuff from the museum? It was Bill. I was over it. Yeah, no, go search his house. It's in the middle room and the thing. Get a warrant. I'm telling you, it's going to be there. Bye. I don't get it. Like, I'm not trying to be holier than thou here. I'm not trying to be righteous and preachy. I'm literally hoping that somebody can explain this to me, because I don't is this something that I've never even thought of? It has to be. I just don't understand it. I don't know what you do with that kind of stuff. You know, like, I like Brett. Like, I have a couple little things here on my on the podcast desk here. Hold on. You know, like, I got, you know, because I love Back to the Future. You know, I'm a Mets guy, so I got a Shea State. Like, I have again, these aren't like priceless things, but everything I have, like, when people come and visit me, I got a little story about it. This is why I like looking at these things, and this is what makes me happy. And here's my story on it. I would imagine if I had something of value, that would be part of it too. I can't imagine having this great thing that means so much to me that I can't share with anybody. That feels weird. You know, I don't really get the point of that. Especially because most people who have a shit ton of money wind up like buying those things from people and then like sticking them in the museum that's named after them anyway. I mean, you know, that I get. Like, that's all like kind of like a brag. Like, even if you're doing a nice thing of like, hey, this is historically important to everybody, I'm going to buy it from the person who owns it and make sure the public can come see it anytime they want. Like, that's like a nice thing to do. But you can't do that with stolen stuff. I don't know why people would steal it. I don't really get it. All right, that's it. I think I went through the whole. I saw Uncle B is here. Friday's episode. We are now 2 days away from talking about The Brutalist. So if you haven't seen the movie yet and you want to be in on our Brutalist conversation, we'll be there Friday. I do also want to talk about Jared Leto and the box office like curse that he is under. And we got a couple other fun little interesting things. I think we went through almost everything here on this episode. Yeah, I think we did. We did the thing. Now I'm going to go try and concoct a plan to steal something incredibly. I'm going to steal the Mona Lisa and put it in my basement and make sure that nobody knows about it. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be really excited that I can't tell anybody, because that's the weird thing. Like, nobody could keep a secret ever. I feel like in 2025, really no. I mean, nobody's even close to keeping a secret. So what are they going to do with that stuff? You know, it's funny. I can't remember what the story was, but there was a story the other day. Oh, I think it was the Sinclair. You know, the Sinclair gas stations, they have like the dinosaur, like the green dinosaur. I think her name is Claire. Somebody stole that. It might have been the original one from some weird podunk town. And it was gone for like a week or two or something like that. And then like somebody brought it back. And there was like a note. This story was so ludicrous. I remember thinking about bringing it to the podcast, but ultimately decided not to. And I think like the note was like, oh, please don't arrest me. And they just like brought it back. And I was just like, this is somebody who thought it would be cool to steal this. Then it was in their house for like 5 days, and they looked at it and they were like, what am I doing with this? Which is essentially what I do with every piece of clothing I ever buy. I look at it on the hanger and I go, what was I thinking here? Enjoy your Thirsty Thursday.
Show me potato salad.
See you guys on Friday. Frankie C will be back.
Maybe we should go now. Go ahead.
It's a game time episode too, so don't miss it.